Wishing you all a very happy new year 2025, baby! Now, of course, it is officially New Year's Eve as I record this right now. But of course, when you come to listening to this over on Spotify and YouTube, we will actually, in fact, be well into the new year by that point. And so, yeah, Happy New Year 2025. I hope it is an incredible one for you. And we're just wishing you all the best. Truly. I believe that so many of us have been on such a journey. Like, if you are listening to this podcast, I have no doubt that you've been through an incredible journey, or you are currently on one. Lots of challenges, hurdles, lessons learned, highs, lows, you name it. We've all been there. And so I truly hope that 2025 is the year that we just have peace, that we can actually just live. So what better day to reflect upon this last year? It's been a lot. It has been a lot. I've been very honest with you guys here on my podcast episodes and of course on social media. 2024 has been a challenge. There's been a lot of endings, of deaths of the life that I thought I wanted, many challenges along the way, many hurdles, setbacks, that in-between period, the loneliness. There's just been a lot. And I don't believe that I'm alone in that feeling of almost like a bit of a relief, as like, time to seal this year off. It's funny because I've seen a few like Facebook memes and things like that, as well as to like, what was one of them? You couldn't pay me to do this year again. And I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, honestly, like, if you think about it deep down, time is the most precious energy source that we have. So actually to be able to replay a year again would be extremely blessed. And actually knowing what we do now, we may do things differently, but I actually get the concept. It's very funny. Like, I do get the concept. And yeah, other ones of like how I don't hate you 2024, but you know, you've really challenged me. It's been very difficult. So yeah, I think it seems to have been a common theme of this year that it has been challenging for so many different reasons. And so yeah, I just wanted to record an episode very much about reflecting on this past year, sharing all of the lessons, all of the valuable learnings that I feel that I've had through a lot of these challenges. And I'd like to think that this episode I feel that it is important for me to share the lessons, because I do believe that we should share what we've learned. We should put it out there. We're here as people on this earth together. Why can't we be there for each other and help each other in those times of needs, or just share those little bits of insights that may help someone else along their journey? And so, yeah, here are my lessons of 2024, starting with number 1. Lesson number 1 has been definitely never settle. Never, ever, ever settle. And I mean, mainly for me, it's very much to do with relationships, but this could come in so many different areas of your life as well, whether that be career, friendships, your environment where you live, the city, the home. Just settling for like a mediocre life when you know that you deserve more, you know, whatever it may be for you. But very much for me, it's relationships. And I know I mentioned this before, and I do need to do a separate episode, and I very much intend to, now that I am in a place where I am fully healed from the relationship that I ended earlier this year that was incredibly toxic and unhealthy. I do want to share a lot more about everything that I learned specifically through that relationship. But yeah, let's just say I settled massively in that. And yeah, it was clear that right from the word go, it was never, we just weren't aligned. We were not aligned. And I knew even then that I was worthy of so much more. But I think And I'm sure a lot of people have been through this situation as well, is that sometimes you actually start to question, well, is there anything better out there? Do I have to settle? Do I have to lower my standards? But I mean, gosh, there's lowering your standards, and literally like my standards, my values, my boundaries were an all-time low, and it fucked me over. I am never settling in a relationship. I put up with a guy who smoked when that is a value that I'm like so against. But, you know, because he was wanting to quit, and we were friends first, and I, you know, was encouraging him with that, it kind of felt like different, like that I just took him on knowing that he's a smoker and he wanted to quit. But actually, like, if I was meeting a new guy and I smoked, it'd be a definite no, you know. He was an absolute just bum, let's be honest. He had no drive, no motivation, and that showed as well. And I know that money is not everything, but it made me realize, as being a woman, how we do need to feel that security and that having that provider around us, whether that be financially, emotionally, physically. There's a lot more to it, the safety concept, everything. And I ended up almost taking on more of the masculine role in that relationship. His mood, his demeanour, his almost beliefs rubbed off on me, which were the complete opposite of my own. I want someone to meet me at my level. In fact, the next guy that I'm with, I want them to be way ahead of me spiritually, in mindset, everything. Like, I want to be inspired by them, like, so I want them to be so admirable, like, wow, this guy is incredible, he's so far advanced than me. I feel like, I don't want to sound big-headed, but I have always felt like I have been further ahead than the guys that I've been with, and that doesn't work. And I don't just mean it for myself, but I think for them as well. It's just the dynamics of that sort of relationship. Personally, for me, I don't feel that it works. They need to be way ahead of you. And again, I don't just mean like in career or, you know, that they own 5 houses. It's not about that. It is in the mindset, their experience of life and their values. But yeah, kind of long-winded that one. But what I'm getting at is, yeah, I'm not settling for less than I deserve. I need someone ahead of me in life, in mind, body and soul. And I need someone to meet me where I'm at, rather than lowering who and what I am to kind of be on par and level with them. Like, it just doesn't work. On both sides, it doesn't. So yeah, never settle. Lesson number 2, quitting is for winners. Yeah, that's how I feel. Quitting is for winners, because again, I relate this very much more to like my old business and network marketing. You know, if you were seen as quitting in a business like that, it was almost like really frowned upon, like you didn't work hard enough, you know. The only people who fail are the ones who quit, things like that. And it's just so untrue. Quitting something that no longer served me, that I was completely just not aligned with, that made me miserable, that frankly was not working on so many levels. Quitting that was the best thing that I ever did. I set myself free. I opened up doors of opportunity and was able to see what I truly wanted out of life. If you know that you have put your heart and soul into something, whatever that may be, whatever it is, however you once felt about that, if something has changed within you and you know that it's time to step away, to quit, you are a winner for doing so. There's a big difference between, oh, do you know what, I just can't be arsed, fuck it, I give up. You know, like, there's a big difference between a lack of motivation and just knowing in your heart when it's time to step away. And again, that could be for whatever that may mean to you, but to me, obviously, it was in a business. But again, you could actually liken that to relationships, a relationship where you've worked really hard at it, knowing when to step away, knowing when to release that burden of yourself, replenish your energy, move on to what is right for you. Quitting is for winners, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Lesson number 3 of 2024, toxic positivity is out. I am over it. I've mentioned many a times that I am guilty of toxic positivity, and what I mean by that is, of course, being on like a growth journey on this kind of self-development and being very aware of like your energy, your vibrations, your frequency and where you are running at. Of course, we want that to be high. We want to be vibrating high, all good vibes, feeling happy, positive, And that's true. Like, of course, we want that. However, equally, how that became to me is the odd time that I was having a bad day where a few things that had happened that had bothered me, or, sometimes you're just feeling energetically low, sad, going through a bad time, whatever that may be. And I would literally be like, I need to shift this mindset. I need to improve. I need to get better. And rather than feel how I needed to feel to overcome it, I'd be like, right, I almost needed to brainwash myself. So I would listen to all the podcasts, all the music, all the inspirational, motivational messages that I could to try and lift me up, to try and lift me out of this mood to an extent where it just became toxic positivity. It's all very well and good that, of course, we want to be happy, but that's not life. There are ups and downs, ebbs and flows. You cannot actually be happy 24/7. There's a saying, isn't there, about like being positive, actually, where being positive isn't about being happy all the time, but it's about acknowledging your feelings and knowing that this too shall pass, that you can overcome it. Seeing the positives in a situation. But I think I just took that to an extreme where it's like I had to counteract my negativity and shift out of that. And it did. It became toxic, and it's very unhealthy. And at the end of the day, you do have to feel these emotions, and it is very important to. We are human beings. We are spiritual beings living a human experience. And as part of that, we have to feel all the feelings, all the emotions. And that, funnily enough, brings me nicely onto lesson 4, which is the only way out is through your emotions. So it very much links in with the whole toxic positivity. I am now determined to feel through the emotions. The more that you dampen them down, brush them under the carpet, try and be positive when everything is shit around you, whatever that may be, you're actually delaying the healing. You're delaying the end result. You're delaying your progress because you're just that. You're delaying it. You're holding yourself back. You're putting it off because those feelings, they need to be felt. Those emotions, they need to be acknowledged. The only way out is through. And I very much learned that maybe just over halfway through the year, and I did create an episode on it, the in-between period. I found that incredibly challenging. I was like, my mindset was in the bin. I was like, life is over. What have I been doing? Where am I heading? Lost, stuck, miserable. Just like, yeah, all the feelings. And I felt them. I didn't push them down. I acknowledged them. This is where I'm at. I am in this in-between period. It's hard. I don't feel like I have any goals that I'm working towards, things that I want to progress to. I am very lost in this moment. And it lasted for quite some time. But I continued on knowing that the answers would come to me. And they did. But if I'd have rushed that process, I would have delayed that. Because when you're forcing something, it's just not right. You cannot force energy. And that's what emotions are. They are energy in motion, and we need to feel them, we need to experience them, and we need to embrace them. So the only way out is through your emotions and just knowing that you are going to come out on the other side. But feel. Don't be afraid to feel. And actually that quite nicely leads me again on to my next lesson, which is lesson number 5. And that is that healing and growth is not linear. And what I mean by that is, if you was to think of like a chart, and you think you're on this growth and healing journey and the chart is just going up, it's only ever going to go up. There's no pauses, there's no side steps, backward steps, whatever. It's up, up, up. And that's just not the case. We'd like to think it is, but it's not. So, to put it into perspective, when I met my ex, I was already well into this growth and development and spiritual journey. I was very far advanced into it. So my mindset was really strong. My awareness was strong. And I was in a good place in that sense. And again, I'm going to touch on this a little bit more, but actually, I was still vulnerable. So even though I was in such a healed place, so developmentally aware, so much experience and growth within, I was still vulnerable to someone knocking me off track, knocking me off balance. And my journey did sort of pause for a little while. It paused again when I quit my business and when I felt lost, not knowing what to do with my house. Any sort of negative or challenging experience and things like that, it's not like you can just push through it. Like, yeah, through being on this journey, you do build up a resilience. You're able to definitely overcome challenges more so. But there will be ups and downs. So, I mean, if I was on video now, I'd kind of show you this up and down chart and side steps, but equally at the same time, it's still always heading upwards, if that makes sense. So the overall trend will still be up, but you can see slight little dips or pause breaks or whatever, That's okay. You got to remember as well, you can do all the healing in the world, but life will still be lifing around you, and your triggers may still be there. Things may come up from your past that may haunt you, may hurt you, may cause you pain that you thought you'd healed from. It doesn't mean that you've failed, that you're not doing as well as you thought. That is part of the process. So remember that. You're doing so much better than you think. Healing is not linear. Growth is not linear. But you are still growing and healing throughout everything that you are experiencing and overcoming. Next up on my lessons of 2024, number 6, your intuition is your superpower. It really is. Why do we never trust our gut, our intuition? Why do we hear it, feel it, sense it, but then our rational mind plays tricks on us and tries to reason with it and tries to always be right? The little voices that come up in the back of your mind, the tiny whispers, the sensations, the feelings, when you know deep down within, that is your superpower. We have to listen to it. Again, going back to my relationship, I know I'm like a broken record bringing this up, and this is why I need to do a full episode on it and then be done with it, don't I? But again, every time I came home from having seen him, every time without fail, my mind is like in overdrive, battling with my intuition. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, maybe it'll get better when this. trying to look at all the positives of the relationship, looking at the potential, the hope, but deep down within, why was I questioning that every day anyway? Because my intuition was fighting against my mind, and my mind won all the time until eventually, the day that I ended things with him, I honestly, genuinely, hand on heart believe, I've told many people about this, that something took over for me. My higher self, my spirit, God, the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, took over from me that day. Had that conversation, blurted out what I needed to do for months before. But it took me a long time to get to that point, and it was ignoring my gut, ignoring my intuition. Have you ever been in a situation where you're just like, this ain't right, something's not right, or you believed something in your heart, but someone else was like trying to convince you that you were crazy? I was having a conversation with my friend about it. Her gut was telling her a lot about her partner, but she believed the partner, which of course you want to do, and then your rational mind comes in again. But her gut was right the whole time. Our intuition is our superpower. We must believe it, and we must act upon it. Okay, lesson number 7 of 2024. Boundaries are essential. Boundaries are very tricky to enforce. To firstly have your awareness of them, to know fully what your values are, to create these boundaries, whether that be for yourself or with others. But yeah, definitely they can be tricky to enforce, and it only takes a couple of experiences of dropping your guard, letting your boundaries slide, and before you know it, it becomes the norm, and it's totally okay. And again, our rational mind would be like, oh, it's okay, it's just this once, or oh, it's for them, and oh, he texted me, or oh, they said this, or oh, it doesn't matter, I'll start again tomorrow. Whatever, again, that may be for you. They are difficult to enforce, but they are essential. Every time you disrespect your boundaries, you're disrespecting yourself. If you haven't already, if this is something that you do genuinely struggle with, and I have for, I'm 34 years old now, for my entire life I've struggled with boundaries. And if this is something that you do feel like you need support on, if you look back on my episodes, I believe it would have been, I'm actually going to have a look, I think it was maybe like 4 or 5 episodes back, I actually recorded an episode specifically on boundaries. The title is called How to Stop Being Too Nice, Have Boundaries and Set Yourself Free. That is a powerful podcast episode. I've had lots of comments and feedback from that with regards to it being extremely supportive and helpful. It gives you a good insight into, firstly, how to identify what your boundaries should be, dependent upon your values, your personal values and preferences and beliefs on life, but also how to be able to communicate them with others and still be a nice person, Because I think that's most people's biggest problem, who are people pleasers, empaths. We drop our boundaries simply because we care. We want people to like us. We want to show up as a good person, But actually, when you're not setting these boundaries, you're not showing up as a good person to yourself, and that's what counts the most. Self-love, the self-love journey, and this is another episode I want to record, is so difficult. It's actually incredibly difficult. Like, people think it's just like, taking a bath because you're tired, or opening that bottle of wine after a hard day. It's none of that. I mean, it's kind of part of that, but it's like 2%. It is 2% of a self-love journey. The majority of it, 98%, it's incredibly difficult, and it's setting these boundaries. Just as one example, So yeah, they are essential for you, but also for your connections and relationships with others, in order to thrive together, Lesson number 8. The in-between periods or winter seasons of life are just as important. And this just brings me back to the episode that I did on the in-between period, and I've been very vocal about this time that I've gone through in my life on my social media and in my podcasts. And yeah, I realise now just how important that they are. So obviously, and I think it's definitely an era of being in your 30s that you expect to have achieved that. You expect to be doing this, that, and the other. And that life be always all the highs, all the achievements, all the milestones, all these big successes. And it's not. Some seasons are for isolation, for quiet growth, for healing, for keeping yourself to yourself. Those quieter moments, those lulls, those winter seasons where you are in your cocoon, they are just, in fact, I believe, more important seasons of your life, because without those sort of in-between periods, these winter seasons, these times in your cocoon, would you ever thrive? If you are literally bam, bam, bam. And I've been on the receiving end of all these successes, by the way, when I was with my ex-husband, and it was like we went through this period where everything was happening. We went backpacking, we got engaged, we bought a house, we got married, we went on 2 luxurious honeymoons. We were then trying for a baby, and it would have been literally one thing after another, and it was incredible. But life isn't like that. That was a season. That was a season of my life, and I will have other seasons like that as well, that may be similar or completely different. I've got seasons relating to my business, seasons related to the time that I spent living abroad, seasons related to friendships, relationships, but also seasons related to healing, to growth, to stagnancy of the outside world, because the inside world is where it's at right now. And that's where it's been for me very much so this year. If I was to tell you about what I've done this year, I'd really struggle. I've not been on any holidays, trips away, no like majorly extravagant sort of day trips with the girls, brunches out. Like, it's been pretty boring in that respect, You'd be like, really? You've just gone to the gym every day and started a podcast and started a job and had the odd lunch out? I'm like, yeah, that's me. Oh, and of course, all my spiritual and healing events as well. They've been sort of the highlight of my year, definitely. But yeah, that has been my year. It's been extremely boring, but actually so much has gone on within. And I personally feel, I didn't feel like this, like even a month or 2 ago, but I feel it now. It's just how vital that it's been for me. And knowing that now, I believe that I'm going into this new year like a new person, ready to take on the world. I'm not even kidding. Let alone taking on 2025. I'm taking on the freaking world, and I'm taking you all with me. I swear to God, I'm taking you all with me, because I have big plans for next year, and it's going to be amazing. And I feel like I'm in the place now to do that, whereas I didn't before, And that's through being in my cocoon and being so-called boring. I don't care. It's been vital. It is just important, just as important. How are you finding this so far? I feel like as I speak about this, my energy is lifting, my vibes are rising. Like, this is such a powerful episode. I really hope that you are feeling this as well. Like, for me, this is a great reflection, like I said, on New Year's Eve, but I hope for yourselves, like, this gives you divine guidance, inspiration, motivation, healing, support, whatever it is that you need to take from this to take on 2025 for you, however that may look for you. Because I believe that these lessons, these messages, these stories and experience that I'm giving you today is just, it would speak to people regardless of where they're at on their journeys, So I really hope that you're finding this beneficial. And we're over halfway there now, so yeah, let's see what other lessons I've got here written down in my book. So, number 9, the importance of faith and a belief in a higher power. This has been an incredible lesson for me, and this kind of does relate very much to that in-between period, or, not even that, but periods in your life that are challenging, that are difficult, that are turbulent, sad, heartbreak. So much can happen in our lives, and it can feel so incredibly overwhelming and quite isolating when you just feel like you're completely alone, like you are fighting against the tides of life. And it's so important in these times, well, whether or not you're in these times, but definitely in these times, that belief in there's a reason, that you are being supported and guided, that just that knowing that things will get better. Yeah, I'm going through this. Yeah, this is hard. I feel like my life is ending as I know it. I don't know whether I can get out of this, but knowing that you will, and having that belief. So whatever your beliefs are, whether they be religious, spiritual, but having the belief in some sort of faith. And I feel that having that is so vital. And I think that is what has got me through most of the difficult times in my life, is just that knowing that it's not even that everything happens for a reason. It's not that, but it's more that this will make sense in time. There's a reason that I'm going through this. This will make sense in time. I will get through this. Things will get better. I will look back on this and laugh one day, that kind of thing. And just that belief that you are being supported by whatever you believe in. Angels, God, the universe. Because we really are. And it really helps to have that belief. Even more so during the dark times. Lesson number 10 of 2024, and I'm going to need to have a drink of water because I feel like my voice is going. Yes, lesson number 10, if you are feeling lonely, put yourself out there. If you've listened to my recent episode about me feeling alone and navigating this period of my life of loneliness, I chose to put myself out there. So in these situations, it's about stepping outside of your comfort zone. If you are feeling lonely, alone, isolated, and you are craving connection, you've really nothing to lose. So whether that is reaching out to a loved one from your past who you're no longer really in touch with, you may send them a message, give them a call, write a letter. So it could be someone that you know, reaching out on social media, whatever that may be. Reaching out to someone that you are in touch with and being vulnerable with them, saying that you've been having a difficult time, that you are feeling vulnerable and alone right now, and whether they would be happy to meet up with you. Be vulnerable, put yourself out there. Obviously, in my case, it was very much of attending these events, these spiritual workshops and events, and also with that, reaching out to complete strangers and saying, yeah, you know what, girls, I'm going through a period of isolation and loneliness, and I would love to connect with other like-minded women who maybe feel the same, and we can help each other, support each other, meet up. Yeah, and it worked. It's helped me through that period. I'm still very much isolated on my own, but I don't feel it because I've got complete strangers to connect with any moment that I want. And I actually mentioned this in a therapy appointment that I had yesterday, is that what makes meeting up with a friend who you've known for years for a drink or a meal or a walk any more valuable than having a deep, meaningful conversation with a stranger that you may never see ever again? They're both as equally valuable. In fact, having some of the conversations that I've had with strangers have been the most empowering, impactful, beautiful connections and experiences that I could never feel alone. Having had those, they've been incredible. So yeah, I've maybe felt a little bit lonely. I may not have friends that I can just hit up and go and meet up for a drink or whatever, but actually I can go to events and speak to complete strangers about my raw, deep, honest, vulnerable feelings. And that is incredible. And let's be honest, I can go and take myself out for a drink anytime that I want. And when I'm in that powerful place, I've mentioned it before, like when you truly love yourself, have respect for yourself, and want to date yourself, go out on the solo dates, embrace your own company. That's beautiful as well. So again, even in that respect, putting yourself out there. I feel lonely. I want to go out. I'm going to go out on my own, damn it. You know? So yeah, that's lesson number 10. Moving on to number 11. Don't allow just anyone access to your energy. This is one that I kind of have to remind myself on a regular, because I am that nice girl that will talk to anyone, will give anyone the time of day. I'm the one who smiles at the strangers, says hello, even compliments a stranger, things like that. And as much as I love that, and I will continue to do so because that's my way of shining my light and spreading love and light, but also it's about having an awareness of who has access to you. You can do all these beautiful things to others, but who are you really going to let in? The connections that you make, no matter how brief, day to day, have a real impact on your energy. When you think of yourself as energy, so forget about your body right now. You are literally just this vessel of bouncing molecules. Okay? It's like this is like a science lesson now, isn't it? But imagine yourself as this ball of bouncing molecules. And the people that come in and out of your life, the interactions that you have, whether online, face-to-face, over the phone, whoever you let in, even in text messages, online dating, things like this, a little molecule will flick away. It leaves this ball. But while some of your precious energy is leaving, the people that you are connecting with, their little balls of energy are coming in. Some people's balls of energy you will want in yours. Others, do you really? I'll happily have interactions with so many people, but letting them into my precious ball, letting their molecules in, that's another thing altogether. And that's how you need to see it, because that is what we are. We are energy. We are a vessel of vibrating energy, vibrations and frequency and energy. And we deplete, we rise, we take on other people's energy every single day. So be really mindful of who you let access, of who you give that access to, because when you really think of this ball, protect this ball. It's so precious. Don't just let anyone have access to this precious metal, this precious treasure that is your energy. And again, I can relate this to people that I have had around me in my life, relationships, friendships, things like that, of where it's changed me. If you ever come away from an interaction with someone and you feel drained, or you feel negative, tired, depleted, maybe you have these like limiting beliefs or negative mindset shifts, things like that. If you notice anything like that from an interaction with someone, that is your sign right there. You have essentially released some of your own energy to that person, but you've also taken on some of theirs. Being around people in the past and having these sort of interactions and connections, they have quite literally changed me as a person, whether that be just temporarily as like a negative mindset shift, or that, that flatness or whatever. Or again, in my past relationship, it took me quite a few months to bounce back from, because he literally diminished my light. And so, no, I see my energy is so precious now, and I certainly don't want to be taking on other people's unless they have equally as precious energy that we do equally align with, and it is of value to both of us. Okay, lesson number 12. Everyone who comes into your life is for a reason, a season, or forever. Connections end, and that's okay. So this kind of relates to, obviously, I've had a year of endings. Some of them I have obviously wanted, others not. So I'll start off with the very first one. My ex, definitely wanted, needed. Did that make it any easier? Absolutely not. It was still incredibly difficult. I could have easily, in those first few weeks, month, whatever, have messaged him and said, you know what, I just want to cuddle. Yeah. It was very difficult. There was a reason that he came into my life, taught me a heck of a lot, has given me a lot of inspirational content. But yeah, it's made me who I am as a person. And he came in for a reason, 100%. But other people who have left, like friendships, they came for a season. They were a part of my life for a valuable cause, and maybe we got through certain periods of life together. Maybe we've grown together, thrived together, really enjoyed and embraced each other's company for that period of time. But that season has now ended, and as sad as that is, I need to accept that. That same as a relationship, any sort of relationship, you was fine before they came into your life, as much as they have benefited you in that time, and it's beautiful. And it's very sad when anyone leaves, or you have to leave, or regardless of the circumstances, it is so difficult. But you were okay before, and you will be okay afterwards, and it doesn't make that relationship any less valuable. They were such a huge part of your life for that period of time, and that was beautiful. But now that no longer serves you or that person, and that is okay. So so my ex, I've had a few friendships end, and then lastly, sadly, and I'm not going to cry, but my lovely nan passed away just before Christmas, you guys. So really sad. She was 95. She'd had a heart attack, and she was in hospital at the time. It was still unexpected because, funnily enough, they were planning on discharging her. She was due to come home, and she's gone. Now, I would say that she was still a forever person, because she stayed in my life, of course, until her forever. And she was an incredible part of my life. And there's a lot of sadness. I'll be honest, I've never experienced grief before in terms of a bereavement, a loss of someone passing. I've known of people passing, a friend of a friend, or some so-and-so's family member. But for me personally, like a close person, never. And, I touch wood now. I've always thought of myself as being incredibly lucky that, at 34 to still have my grandparents around is incredible. To have never been to a funeral in my life is just like shocking. And I'm so grateful for that, but it was inevitable. But it doesn't make it any less sad. Like it's been really difficult to, even like the expectations of what it would feel like to have someone no longer in your life, and then comparing that to the reality. Like there's so many mixed emotions, so much like shoulda, woulda, coulda, guilt, what ifs. But yeah, another ending. So many relationships, connections that have ended. And I don't regret any of them. They've all been incredible people in my life, played a huge part, each one, and made me who I am today. And for that, I am eternally grateful. For me, I've had a lot of friendships end over the years. I'm sure a lot of us have, whether with faded apart, like grown apart, or there's been some big bust up or whatever. But again, nothing takes away from the time that you spent together, and that was special. And regardless of my feelings towards some of the friends that I used to have, I still love and care for each and every one of them, and I wish them all the best. I hope they lead incredibly happy and joyous lives, because that's what I want for them. There's no bad vibes here. Everyone comes into your life for a reason, a season, or forever. Connections end, and that is totally okay. So considering I've actually just mentioned about my nan passing recently, that does actually lead us on to lesson number 13. Death is guaranteed, but are we really living? Ooh, this one is deep, and this is, I regret to say, part of my toxic positivity. But on the day that my nan passed, oh gosh, I mean, for a start, I still got ready and went to work. But again, toxic positivity there, that's just an example of like, I need to be strong, I need to just carry on as normal. I didn't last very long in work, and I actually got sent home. But in the afternoon, I went out for a walk because it was a beautiful day. Bless my nan. She went on such a stunning day. We'd had such horrible weather for like weeks. It's been so dull and rainy. If you live in England, you'll know what I'm talking about. But on the Thursday that she passed, it was clear blue skies. It was stunning. And I decided to take myself out for a walk, get out in nature. And I listened to a podcast about death and getting over grief. Like, she's just died, and I'm already consuming something to try and turn that around. Do you get what I'm saying now? That's a good example of the toxic positivity of where I'm at. And that's what I'm, determined to shift, really. But I did learn something from this podcast, and it was very much about this woman who said, so it's a young woman, maybe the same age as myself, and basically the sort of episode was very much about her thoughts on almost like planning your life around death rather than ignoring it. Because let's be honest, we all know we're going to die, but do we really live and act like we're going to die? I personally don't feel like I do. And there's the old saying is like, live every day like it's your last. And that's not easy, is it? Because at the end of the day, we have bills, we have responsibilities, we have to go to work, whatever that may be. There's shit that we still have to deal with. But I think for me, it's going back to a place of living for the little moments. And I have been there before, and I feel like it's coming back. But like, sitting and just enjoying your favourite drink. When you're moisturising your body after the shower, doing it with so much intention, love and caress, that feeling, that sensation, and just really like pampering yourself. Going and watching a sunset and just feeling all of the emotions that come up with that. Seeing the reflection of the sunlight on the water. Doing the things, the everyday things that light you up, that give you that spark, but doing it with intention and acknowledging how something makes you feel and really just embracing it, enjoying it. And I was on about this, how I want to get back to just living, because right now I'm at my mum's. I'm obviously back in work, and let's be honest, my life isn't all living in Bali, living my best life anymore. But then I think, well, was I really living my best life over there? No, I wasn't. I was in scarcity, I was in lack, I was vulnerable. I wasn't even living my dream life. Some of the happiest moments that I have had in my life have been in the smallest, tiniest moments. But they're the moments that I cherish, and that is why I've gone off on a tangent here, but basically this woman was saying that if she questioned herself as to if she knew she was going to die tomorrow, would she be happy? And her answer was no. And I thought of myself, and I have to agree, I would not be ready to die. I'm not ready. But that's because I've not lived. I've not truly lived. Like, I've done incredible things. But true living is in the tiniest moments, and really cherishing and having that gratitude for life. We do things so flippantly, so blasé, not really, embracing it. Just take it on, you just do it. Death is guaranteed, but are we really living? And I intend to live and enjoy every moment of it. And I hope that you do too. Like, are you really living? Are you doing the things that light you up? Are you saying no to the things that you no longer want in your life? Are you acknowledging all those favourite moments? Like when you think back to being a child, how the smallest things you'd be so excited about, like what happened to us as adults that no longer that's like, it's just not a big deal. And I think social media plays a part in this, that it's like, and the Western world as well, we're always craving more, looking for more, wanting more, comparing to others, thinking they're living the dream life. And people thought I was living the dream life in Bali. I wasn't. I know people now on my social media where others will be jealous of them, and I'm not, because I know the truth behind it, you know? We always think, we always seem to want what other people have, or we want things that are ingrained in us that we should want. Let's concentrate on just being. And that's what I'm all about now, living. Oh my gosh, final lesson of 2024. Number 14. What others think of you is none of your business. I've always cared what people have thought of me, and still continue to do so. It is an annoying trait to have. So like in recent situations and experiences, for example, like the end of friendships, you know, two sides to every story. I don't know what this person is saying about me to other people. And it bothered me. It does bother me. It continues to bother me what people think or what people are saying. But actually, the only person that bothers through me overthinking and worrying and questioning is me. That it only bothers me. The actual reality of what someone thinks of me, that doesn't bother me, does it? It's me questioning it, me thinking about it. And so if I was to release that need to care, if it became literally none of my business, which it is not, I can be truly, authentically, happily, abundantly, joyously myself and not give a flying fuck. Because honestly, people who have opinions on you don't even know you to your core. They know a part of you, whether that be through a contact that you've had with them, a minuscule moment, even someone that you have known for years. They don't fully know you to your core. The only person who can judge you is yourself. You know yourself best. Your spirit, your soul knows you, knows your purpose, knows your passion, knows your flaws, your imperfections. And regardless, they love you. It's because your spirit, your soul loves you unconditionally. And when you tap into that, what does it matter what other people think? It has no influence. So again, going back to like, if we was on our deathbed, if we was told that we were dying tomorrow, would we be questioning, worrying, overthinking all of the people and what they thought about us? No. So why should we now? And if we was living as though we're actually going to die, it all makes sense, doesn't it? That we shouldn't care. There's no need to care. The only person that matters is you and what you feel about yourself. And let's be honest, that's my job here, to try and ensure that you do form that complete unconditional self-love towards yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do. If you are someone that is listening to my episodes, my podcast, that follows me on social media, I already know that you are worth it, because you are the person that I know is putting in the work, is determined to be the best version of themselves, is most likely a people pleaser, an empath, a healer, has potentially been through hard times and overcome them. So yes, you are worthy. You are deserving. You are love. And regardless of what others think of us, that is none of our business. And yeah, I have really loved this episode. This has probably been one of my favourites. I've had many favourites along the way, but I think this is going to be my new favourite, because I've loved this. I've literally just sat here with my list of my lessons and just really gone off and delved into each one, what I believe, so beautifully. And I really hope that you feel the same. I really hope that this has brought some benefits to your day, to your lives. And yeah, I really cannot wait for 2025. I cannot wait for... Again, I brought this up at my therapy session last night, that I feel that I'm at a point in my life now where I've done the work. I've really worked on myself, the self-development, the growth, reading the books, listening to the podcast, doing the shadow work, the journaling, questioning myself, really nitpicking my behaviours and doing that inner child work. And now I'm at a point where it's my time to live and to have fun. I've gone through the healing, the work, and now I'm ready to heal through joy, happiness, love, fun. And I really hope that you'll join me with that. And so thank you so much. This is also my longest episode ever. So if you are still listening right now, thank you. You are a dedicated listener and follower, and I truly appreciate that so, so, so much. If you did love this episode today, please leave a rating, a review, hit follow, share with a friend, spread the word, because this is how we grow. It means the world to me. Honestly, it truly does. I cannot believe how much we've grown in such a short space of time, and the community of women, of people who are supporting each other, rooting for each other, and we're all just wanting to grow and heal and embrace this thing called life, because we truly do deserve it. Thank you so much again. Happy New Year. 2025 is going to be our year. But what that means to you is up to you alone. Sending you so much love and hugs and all the very best for the new year. Until next time. Take care, and I'll speak to you real soon.